Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, a Core 4 parenting podcast for conscious, cycle-breaking parents ready to turn toddler tantrums into teachable moments. Hi, I'm Cara Tyrrell, a lifetime lover of littles, mom to 2 grown and flown girls, and an early childhood educator. Through the show, I teach you my collaborative parenting methodology for nurturing your little human's mind, body, and spirit. Because how you connect and collaborate in the first 5 years is how you raise happy, healthy kids who grow into the best version of themselves and find true success in school and life. Welcome back to the show. Today we're talking about parenting in public. If you just had a deep breath moment or your heart skipped a beat, I understand. Parenting is a big enough job, especially the way you do it, being that conscious, collaborative parent who respects and honors your child's feelings, who sets concrete boundaries but allows choice inside those boundaries, right? You really do this intentionally all day, every day, because you have a deep parenting why that's built into your soul, and you want to parent differently than you were parented. But the minute we leave the walls of the safety of our home, it's like a whole new world. We're on display, and parenting in public is a whole different ballgame. I want to tell you a story today at summer here where I live in southern Vermont, and I'm watching all of my clients take their kids to swim lessons. And it's bringing me back, way back to when I used to do the same thing. And so today's story is a swim lesson story, but it really is a parenting in public story. I had girls who were watch, wait, and then do kids. I am not that person, and that's okay. I had totally made peace with the fact that, especially in my adulthood, I had reached a place of self-actualization where if an opportunity was given to me, even if it felt kind of uncomfortable, I could take the risk as long as it was a minimal enough risk and give it a shot. That said, my parents definitely called me cautious Cara when I was a little one. So I've evolved into this. So I had empathy and perspective and the ability to see that my kids were observers. They really needed to see other people do things a bunch of times before they felt safe enough to try it on their own. Knowing that, I didn't know what to expect when we went to swim class. I can tell you what my goal was. My goal was that I was going to give my kids the opportunity to learn how to feel safe and be safe in the water. That's what I wanted. So between my goal for signing them up and who they are as human beings showing up, there was a very large gap. And the classes weren't huge. They were, I think I remember there being maybe like 8 kids max, maybe 10. But there were 2 teachers, so it worked as far as student to teacher ratio. And the teachers would hop in and they would flop around in the water and they'd do their kicky feet and they'd blow their bubbles with their face in the water. And then the kids would all be sitting on the edge of the pool watching, feet in, bums on edge, totally dry, heads completely safe and water free. And then they would, okay, come on in, your turn. And one at a time, they would each go grab a small human and do it. And the kids would go with these teachers until they got to mine. And mine were like super glued. Their little bums were super glued to the side of the pool. They were not going in. They weren't screaming or crying. They were just statues. And you know how kids can get, right? That rigid muscles, you can't move them. And nor would I want these teachers to do that. But those were nope, I'm not doing it. Okay, then move to the next kid. Day after day. 1, 2, 3 days in a row. I brought my kids to swim class every day so they could sit on the edge of the pool with their feet in and do nothing. That's what this was amounting to. Something else you need to know. Beyond the parents who were all watching me, expecting me to do something about this. Well, let's start with them. Those parents would say things to me like, just go put them in. Just go tell the teacher to grab them and do it. And I'd bristle and say, no, that is not why we're here. My job is to help my kids feel safe in the water. If I ask a perfect stranger to grab them and toss them in the hopes that they eventually like it, that is not meeting my goal. This is about my child's journey, not mine. Now, I didn't sit there and give everybody this perspective of mine. I just calmly smiled and said, they'll get in when they're ready, or not. Boy, those parents were uncomfortable. And that's my number one tip about parenting in public. When you sit confidently inside your choices and you're unfazed by the looks, by the words, by the if it were me, I would's, all of a sudden they're the uncomfortable ones. They're like, oh, no, they got it going on. They know what they're doing. So confidence and knowing why you are where you are and what you want out of it, this is key. And actually the hardest thing to build, of course, which is why I'm here. The second thing you need to know is that my kids' cousins were in the same class. Yeah, the same class. So my sister-in-law has very different kids than I did. They were risk takers, like the scary kind of risk takers. 5-year-old, put them on skis and tell them to try to teach them to ski down the mountain. And they're just like, oh, let me just go breakneck speed straight down. No idea what'll happen when I get there, but that's what I'm doing. They had no boundaries like mine did. And so it was even harder for me as a young mom to sit inside what I knew to be true for myself and what I knew I wanted to be true for my kids when my sister-in-law is sitting there watching hers be highly, quote, successful, air quotes there, in the way that everybody defined success in that moment. Tough stuff, but so important. This was a 3-week class. My kids didn't choose to get in until partway through the 3rd week. They were like the middle schoolers on the opposite side of the dance floor from each other, who on the last song finally said, all right, cool, let's give this a try. They maybe had 3 days of water work, and I did not care. Because we actually got the better end of the deal. We got to celebrate with our kids that they chose and felt safe enough to get in and give it a try. That's where the winning happens every single time. And because of who they were, this became a repeated experience with every new setting that felt uncomfortable to them. Although I'll tell you, the half-life got shorter. We didn't always have to wait 3 weeks because they started building that trust in themselves that they could make a decision and give something a try. I'll also share, just so you know, they're not award-winning swimmers, but they like water. They're safe in it as adults, and they can keep themselves from drowning. And that was my entire goal. So check mark for me, check mark for them. And the process of being honored and respected and allowed to follow their own journey to whatever level of success was for them in that small moment of their lives at 3 and 5, that is what I'm most proud of and what I really, really want to help you cultivate. So, and I guess if I'm being fair, I'm proud of myself for knowing that early on that I was not responsible. I didn't have to show up and show out, as they say, for the other parents of the world. They didn't come home with me. My kids came home with me. I wanted to be consistent in the way that I engaged with my girls in our home and in the world. And I know it takes a body armor of confidence in what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's what I'm here for. If you are navigating some hard things and you know who it is you're dealing with, that beautiful human, those characteristics that make them uniquely them, and you know why you so badly want something for them, but you can't quite figure out how to get there confidently, then go into the show notes, schedule a complimentary connection call, and let's talk about it. Let's see if I'm a good fit to coach you to where you want to be as this conscious, collaborative parent raising a really good human. Until our next episode, stay mindful and proactive, especially when you're parenting in public, as we transform the toddler years.